This is a 4-bedroom, 3,500 square foot house perched on the beach here in sunny Southern California. And when I say on the beach, I mean literally on the beach, as I will show you. This house is currently listed for sale for around $4.5 million. And today I'm going to show you all of the quirks and features of a house that costs that much money. To start, this house is listed for sale by Damon of Berkshire Hathaway here in the San Diego area. You can email him at the email address you see on the screen, or you can email him by clicking the link in the description below. And you can also check out his Facebook page by clicking the link in the description below. In the description below, I'm also including a link to the listing for this house, so you can check it out for yourself. Now, before I get into the quirks and features of this house, I want to give you a general overview. This house is located in Oceanside, California, which is a little coastal city north of San Diego. Like I mentioned, it has 4 bedrooms, about 3,500 square feet. It has 4.5 bathrooms and parking for at least 3 cars. It also has quite a few interesting quirks and features, as I'll show you, and I'm going to start in the obvious place, the beach. Okay, so the beach. Now this house isn't near the beach or a couple hundred feet from the beach. You gotta walk down some path. It is literally on the beach, and you can see how close it is, just a few steps from the house onto the backyard where you're literally at the ocean. You will find very few houses that are so close. Now, when you're out here, you have this rock wall next to me and behind me, which sort of keeps the ocean in check, but it isn't entirely a rock wall. It's a little deceptive because integrated into the rock wall, there is actually a staircase going from this house down through the rocks and onto the beach itself. And so in just about 15 steps, you can go from your living room out to this rock wall and then down this staircase integrated into the rock wall and on to the beach itself. You don't have to worry about parking at the beach or bringing your stuff and carrying it all with you, because it's all just seconds away in your house. That is impressively cool beach access. Now, to illustrate just how close we are to the ocean in this house, I want you to check out the Google Street View of this house. Now, your Google Street View for your house probably looks fairly normal. Something like this, or like this, or like this, or like this, just like pretty much every other Google Street View in America. Not for this house. For this house, they had somebody walk down the beach, and that is the Google Street View imaging for this house. The person is on the beach, and you can clearly see just how close this house is to the ocean, so you can just walk in and play in the sand. But there's a problem. You see, sometimes when the tide comes in, when it's high tide, the tide comes all the way up to the base of those rocks at the base of that staircase, and so there's not really any sand for you to play in. Fortunately, this house has accounted for that, and the backyard is sand. So when the beach goes away at high tide, you have your own sand that you can play in here in this house. And better than that, you have a fire pit in this sand, so you can make s'mores or tell ghost stories around your campfire as the waves are hitting the rocks just 15 feet below. But maybe you want to go outside and you don't want to go in the sand at all. Well, this house has that covered too. There's also a separate patio that has a large table with seating for 6 or more, and there's a built-in barbecue grill back here, so you can come out here and start grilling some burgers or some hot dogs with the ocean only a few feet away. Now, when you are grilling in your house, what do you got? Like a tree in your backyard? That's pretty cool. We get the ocean. And next up, we move inside, where we discover another great feature of this house, namely, it has 2 living rooms. The one upstairs you can use to look out and admire the view. The one downstairs you can actually use to access the outdoors and the ocean and the fire pit and the grill. But it gets better than that. This house also has 2 kitchens. The upstairs kitchen is a normal kitchen. I'll get to that in a minute, but the downstairs kitchen is sort of like a half kitchen, and it's designed to serve people who are going in and out to the ocean. So you have a bunch of glasses here, you have a little fridge, you have a sink, and crucially, the downstairs half kitchen also has a dishwasher, which is great because when your dishes get dirty, you don't have to run them all the way back upstairs. Brilliant for convenience if you're just hanging out down here having a drink and you don't want to go all the way upstairs to just wash your glass when you're done with it. And next up, we move up to the full kitchen, the real kitchen, if you will. And you can see it has a lot of nice touches, beautiful countertops, there's wood everywhere, new appliances, a really nice stove, all the typical touches you'd expect from a house that costs about $4.5 million. Of course, the big difference is you turn around in this kitchen and you have one of the most incredible views you will ever see. But there's also another difference, something you wouldn't expect from a kitchen. This one has a fireplace. Now, it's not a giant log burning fireplace like you'd have in a living room, but there is a small little fireplace over on the counter where you can warm your hands on especially cold days here at the beach, but where you still want to leave the doors open so you can hear the waves. Now, next up, before I show you the rest of the house, I want to show you this room, which may not seem too remarkable on its face, but it's a pretty cool idea. It's a storage room. Now, when you go to the beach, obviously you have a lot of beach stuff. You got surfboards and beach chairs and toys and wetsuits, and if you're like most normal people, you would stick them in your garage. But here at the beach, parking is tight and you want to maximize your garage space for cars. And so this house was built with a separate little storage room that has direct access to the beach, so you can just run up here and throw your beach stuff in and you don't care how smelly it gets as everything dries out. This is your beach storage room. I bet your house doesn't have one of those. Now, next up, I want to show you a few things at the top level of this house, but first, we have to get there. Now, I could take the stairs, but frankly, I don't wanna. And so, I can take the elevator instead. Yes, that's right, this house has an elevator, and to call it, you press the call button right here, and then you wait for a moment as it does its elevator thing. Now, when the elevator arrives, the button on the left lights up saying car here, and then you open up this door, which just looks like a normal door in a house as opposed to an ugly elevator door. And then you have to move this elevator door to the side, and then you walk right in, and you can select which floor in the house you want your carpeted elevator to take you to. Obviously, we're going upstairs, so let's do that. And I made it. That's so crazy. There are a couple of interesting safety features worth noting with the elevator. One is the fact that the door automatically locks itself. If you call it and don't get in it after a while, the door will lock, and you have to press the call button again to prevent somebody from like accidentally opening the elevator door when they don't want to get inside of it. There's also a phone in the elevator just in case you get stuck in your elevator, just for an extra precaution. So the elevator is perfectly safe and wonderful to use, and I will not be taking the stairs again today. Now, next up on the top floor of this house, we move on to the master bedroom, where the first thing you notice when you walk in is these desks. There are two of them. They are identical in size and shape, and they are placed right next to each other. Now, folks, I get it. I work from home. Sometimes you just want a change of scenery. So if you're working away at one desk, you don't have to sit there all day. You can get up and walk right over to the other desk. And then you can resume your work now that you're refreshed and in a completely new space. Brilliant design. But let's say you tire of sitting at your desk or your other desk. Well, you have other options. Now we're in the master bathroom, and check this out. There is yet another chair and yet another desk. So if you want yet another environment in which to work, just bring your laptop on into the bathroom and you can work right next to your sink. You can also work next to a rather interesting and quirky piece that's in the bathroom, namely right next to the jacuzzi tub, you have another fireplace. Yes, this house has shown us that fireplaces aren't just for living rooms, but you can be sitting here soaking in your tub with your doors open, listening to the waves, having your toes warmed by a fireplace. That's about as good as it gets. No, but really, as good as it gets is the master bedroom. This is one of the most beautiful rooms I have ever seen. It has a wall of windows on one side, and you can open the doors and just listen to the waves. You also have yet another fireplace and you have a TV, and obviously this place has wireless internet, so you could sit there and be lying in bed watching my videos using the internet with the doors open, listening to the waves, with the fireplace on, warming you up, watching the finest movie ever created, She's All That with Freddie Prinze Jr. And by the way, let's say you're in that pivotal scene in She's All That when she comes down the stairs ready for prom and you start to feel your toes get cold. Well, there's a remote for the fireplace. You can just turn it on without ever getting up out of bed. It sounds perfect. This room looks like it basically hangs over the ocean. It's like there is nothing else on Earth but you and the ocean. It is a really, really incredible place to be. In fact, I can't think of a place that I would rather be, except possibly the roof. Yes, that's right, the roof, where you will find the hot tub. Now, a lot of houses have hot tubs. They're not really all that uncommon, but most houses don't have hot tubs with a view like this. So if your fireplaces aren't cutting it down below, you can come up here, get in the hot tub, and just soak while you look out at this expansive view of the Pacific Ocean. Sounds like a truly amazing place to be. And you know who agrees with that? This owl. There's a little owl up here. It's fake, obviously. It's to scare away birds. I guess all you gotta do to scare away birds is you get a fake owl. And then birds are like, no, we can't go over there. They got an owl. It hasn't moved in 3 years, but no. Now, obviously, I mentioned this house has 4 bedrooms. I'm not gonna show you all of them. There's nothing weird or quirky in most of them that's noteworthy, but I do like this bedroom, this back bedroom on the top floor, looking that way, and I especially like these large doors because you can open them and look out over the people who don't have as good of a view as you do. You can throw open the doors and look at your neighbors across the street and think to yourself, you know, if you were only 80 feet this way, but they're not. And then you can close the doors and go run up and sit in your hot tub. And next up we move into the garage. Now, like I mentioned earlier, parking can be a bit of a premium if you're living in a beach area with all sorts of people in the summer wanting to come to the beach, so it's nice to have parking on your own property. And this place has a great garage. You have over here a normal garage space, and then you also have a second garage space, which is like a giant oversized garage. And then you have my favorite, and that would be an outdoor space, I guess for cars that don't deserve to come into the garage. Now, next up, I want to show off a few other interesting quirks and features of this house, starting with these doors to enter the master bedroom. Now, I mention these because they have sort of a plant motif on them, and you'll see plants in several places throughout the house. For example, you have these leaves on the fan, and another fan with leaves, and yet another fan with leaves, which I actually think look pretty cool. You also have the front door, which has this beautiful plant design on it. It looks a lot cooler than a regular front door. But even with all of these decorative plants in this house, my favorite plants are these little cacti that sit on the dining room table, desert plants taunted by the sheer volume of water just mere feet away. If only they could reach. And finally, moving back downstairs, a couple of interesting quirks down here. One is the fact that if you press a little switch on the wall over by the side of these doors, you can lower this metal panel that comes all the way down automatically, so you can keep people outside if you don't want them to come in. No, obviously I'm kidding. It's to protect against large storms coming up and kicking stuff into the house. Now, a lot of places in coastal areas will have this, but usually it's metal shutters and you have to nail them to the wall manually. But in this house, there's just a little switch, you push it, and then the metal shutters automatically roll down. You don't have to do anything else yourself. And finally, another interesting item down here. It's a decorative piece. You can see on the wall they went with oars, which frankly is probably a pretty good idea. You're this close to the ocean, you never know, and you might need oars. And so that's a tour of a $4.5 million house perched on the beach here in San Diego County. This place is amazing, and it has a lot of great stuff. Direct beach access, this outdoor fire pit and grilling area, amazing views, tons of space, lots of parking, and that incredible rooftop deck where you can sit in your hot tub and keep an eye on your closest neighbor to the west, China, which is 6,000 miles away. No, but really, as good as it gets is the master bedroom. I've been in a lot of rooms in my life. What? What's a weird flex?